The book shames Gabriel for liking 9 Inch Nails. She believed she heard the voice of the devil. Gabriel's Inferno Part 2, let's do it.
Dante cared for Beatrice, but Beatrice cared nothing for Dante.
She's the victim in all of this.
In my office, Miss Mitchell, now.
Things I want to share now.
One doesn't fuck an angel.
It's now or never.
Tell me that you want me or get out.
I won't let your darkness consume me.
If I'm the darkness, then you're the stars. The act of feeding someone is the ultimate act of care and affection. Don't you want me to feed you?
She's known as Professor Payne.
Pain?
She's an S&M.
I can't bear the thought of someone hitting you. Gabriel. This is dangerous. Sucks.
Oh, didn't see you there. I was just reading about Einstein a little bit just for fun. We start and the opening title sequence is identical to the last one. The very end, it just says Part 2. So it's like a TV show, like the exact same title sequence. We're reusing that. That's cool. Then the movie starts and it's basically like 5 minutes of flashbacks of just like recapping the last movie. Again, it feels like a TV show. So we start off, now she's mad at him. We're gonna start the he wants her and she's not into him phase of the relationship. So she sends him an email, a sexual harassment, leave me alone email, which is a good idea. Start that paper trail for that Title IX investigation. She checks her mailbox in the Italian Studies department and he had left her bra in like an envelope. So that's so embarrassing. Oh, Paul calls her rabbit, which I'm not sure if she likes or not. It's weird to me.
Did you like Paul? What were your thoughts on him?
Paul sucks. He was a sweet guy, but the term rabbit just really annoyed me. That's in the book!
You're welcome, Rabbit.
So she goes to class and he's like, I want to talk to you after class. She's like, no.
Today I will be examining the relationship between Dante and Beatrice. Particularly, what transpired when Dante met Beatrice the second time and she rejected him.
And it's all just a thinly veiled, like, he's really just talking about her, and the details of it don't really match the Dante and Beatrice story. So they're just airing their dirty laundry in class, in code. Oh, Dante did this, Beatrice did this. And it's like, everybody else in this room are Dante scholars. They're gonna notice. This is so awkward.
Where was Beatrice? And what was she doing in between her 2 meetings with Dante?
But, you know, she's Beatrice to his Dante because this is just so literary and cultural and not Twilight fanfiction. So they proceed to have these Scott's tots of class discussions, the Will Smith slapping of grad school seminars.
If she cared about him, why did she make no attempt to contact him? Yes, Miss Mitchell?
This assessment of Beatrice is really arrogant and self-serving, Professor.
Are you crazy?
I'd like to first tell you the Dante and Beatrice story so you can understand it and we can understand this class discussion and how bullshit it is. The story of Beatrice and Dante is told in La Vita Nuova, a medieval courtly love prosametrum. So the story is they met when they were both 9 years old. They're both from like wealthy, important families, right? He basically falls in love with her, but like they don't ever see each other. He's holding a candle for her anyway. They meet again 9 years later when they're both 18. She doesn't notice him or ignores him or pretends to not know who he is, or maybe just doesn't know who he is. So allegedly they only meet these 2 times, but he goes full blown like, I'm gonna invent a new form of romantic poetry because girl that booty. He's been obsessing over her for 9 years and she's like, not interested. How romantic. One explanation is that he had been putting on a big facade that like he always into all these other girls because he didn't want people to know he was into her.
How old are we?
And she had heard those rumors and then was like, oh, well, he's a player, I'm not into him. I'm already bored, I don't care.
Everything in Dante's later life revolves around sex. He certainly isn't sitting home alone on a Saturday night waiting for Beatrice.
But the point is, he is obsessed with her, and she then ignores him. Genders are swapped, so we're swapping gender, I guess. Dante then marries some other lady at 22. Her name's Gemma. They have 4 kids together. I'm quoting from Wikipedia. He wrote several sonnets to Beatrice, but never mentioned Gemma in any of his poems. So, you ever been called ugly by Wikipedia? Beatrice then marries some banker and then dies by age 25. So like, what a fucking love story this is. Dante then writes the La Vita Nuova 3 years after she's dead. Okay, so year 6 of his marriage to a woman who's popped out 4 kids. He's writing courtly love things to his dead not even ex-girlfriend, his dead former crush. Pretty weird. So then later Dante writes the Divine Comedy, right? That's the thing you've heard of Dante because of. And near the end of Purgatorio, Beatrice takes over as guide from Virgil, the Latin poet, because Virgil is a pagan and can't enter paradise. Did I mention that nice guy Paul, his middle name's Virgil? So will Paul, like nice guy Paul, help Gabriel through hell at some? Are we gonna get like gay romance? Could be interesting. So basically Dante writes this grand epic story where he's traveling through like purgatory and paradise and hell, and who is there to guide him but his dead former crush, not pictured his actual wife.
Pelvic affiliates.
So Gabriel is a haunted man, dark past. He needs a guide through hell. She's gonna guide him through hell, and the hell is that he drinks scotch, I guess. So she's gonna like clean up his puke and then change him with her hymen magic. That's how it works, ladies. Your hymen power will turn a bad boy into a good man.
Your virtue is safe with me.
So Gabriel uses class completely inappropriately and very cringy and like very uncomfortable for everyone watching to explain to her that the reason he like had amnesia or whatever and forgot about her is that he thought it was a dream / she was an angel. So either he dreamed her or she was an angel, or he dreamed an angel.
Dante was a self-absorbed, cruel, arrogant slut who treated women like toys for his own personal amusement.
The language Dante uses for his first meeting with Beatrice is dreamlike. Beatrice is wrong in assuming that he remembered everything from the first meeting.
Wouldn't seeing her again jar his memory? Or was he too drunk to try?
That's enough.
Beatrice.
So he didn't try to look for Julia. He didn't talk to his sister about her because he thought she wasn't real or was an actual angel, because this dude apparently believes angels are real.
Angels are strong. They're some of the more powerful creatures in the universe. Yeah. If you believe in that, you know, like it's, yeah.
But they spend this like whole night together, which makes me wonder, like, wait, where was Rachel? Like, because her best friend comes over, disappears with her brother, then is like gone all night. She sleeps over in the orchard. Her friend is never like, hey, where'd my friend go that came over?
My family is so broken.
We know that Gabriel wasn't drunk because even though they're like, oh, he's drinking a Labatt, we've seen his drunk acting. And that's some pretty epic drunk acting. He basically looks sober in the orchard scene, so I don't buy that he was like drunk. So it's like this dude basically sober thinks he's like spending a whole night with an angel. So just another check in the positive column for a good bad boy. Schizophrenic too, all right. Julia then basically in front of the entire class calls him a pedophile because remember she was 17, he was 27.
Dante met her when she was under 18. It wasn't possible for them to be together unless he's a pedophile. Are you telling us that Dante is a pedophile, Professor?
If you'll recall, Beatrice and Dante, when they met, they were both 9 years old. So this comment of like, yeah, but she was underage and blah, blah, blah. It's like every person in the room that's a Dante scholar, they're the same age. Where's this pedophile comment coming from? But none of them seem to notice this. But then Julia goes a little too far with the metaphor by not using a metaphor at all and just referencing Paulina.
Listen, you little slut.
Gabriel's ex-girlfriend or whatever.
He needed companionship, Miss Mitchell. Those women were just helpful friends.
Friends. We're like pelvic affiliates.
I think you've made your point, Miss Mitchell.
Oh, I don't think I have. Dante's dalliances were anonymous and tawdry. That doesn't sound like someone who would appeal to Beatrice. Not to mention the fact that he had a mistress named Paulina. Who's Paulina?
They even like brush. Oh, some scholars say Paulina was some. Don't worry about it. And it's like these people are so fucking dumb that they're not. They're all goddamn graduate Dante scholars, and they can't notice how ridiculous this discussion is. But finally, Krista's like, "Wait, are you guys still talking about Dante?"
She was either his mistress or his fuck buddy.
Class is dismissed. In my office, Miss Mitchell, now.
So now we're going to the second movie, and I'm thinking, okay, he's obsessed with her now, and she's gonna be playing hard to get, gonna spend some time with Paul. Well, what's Gabriel gonna do to make her jealous but go with Paulina? It's like, really, Paul and Paulina? Like, are you that out of names? So this class discussion blows up. Holy shit. He's getting fired. Like, everyone knows they're banging. The truth that she's a virgin and they're not banging would be pretty surprising. Everyone knows they got some weird shit going on. He funneled scholarship money to her in the last movie.
Why can't you just tell me what you want, Julianne? Or do you only answer to Rabbit? Paul can have you.
By the way, Paul is standing like right outside the door of his office. Okay, so they're like, you know, mad at each other, whatever. She goes to leave and it's just like fumbling with the door. I don't know if she like means to stop or she just like can't get the door because she's clumsy. And then he comes up behind her, and even though they like hate each other right now, just coming up behind her and like putting his hand over her hand and like compressing her against the door. That's super romantic. So we're gonna have about 3 minutes of silence as they breathe on each other, I guess.
You have all the power. You could destroy me.
You think I'd destroy you? How the hell would I know what you want? Well, you won't fucking talk to me!
Shouting at me won't persuade me to talk to you!
I've never wanted anyone else.
I'm taking you home.
Oh, well, we made up now, and we're gonna be in love again. I was like, oh. So that whole like cliffhanger ending of the first one, I'm not your Beatrice anymore, and like, oh, now she's gonna be hard to get for a while. It took about 20 minutes, so now we're done.
What are you doing?
I'm texting Paul.
Hey, I've got to cancel on you because reasons. And it's like, he's like right outside the door. This is so awkward. Why doesn't she like Paul? I don't want to go all nice guy, trademark. But he's not one of those like nice guys who's, you know, putting in friendship tokens expecting sex to come out. Like she owes it to him. So he's not doing that. He's also not a like basement dwelling total dork. He's a good looking dude. You can imagine them making a movie where he's the lead sexy man. So why is she not into him? It doesn't make any sense. Like, maybe you should cast an ugly guy in that role, or like a, not ugly, but like, you know, just an okay looking dude, so that it's like, well, there's the super hot guy who's maybe insane, there's the not super hot guy who's much more stable.
And I don't want your version of it.
So I'm just picturing she's gonna pick Gabriel. Let's flash forward 15 years. I bet you Gabriel gets fired. Here's why. He loses his shit, starts throwing things, and then he spanks the shit out of a student in the middle of class because she was complaining that the Divine Comedy wasn't a comedy. And then guess who gets his job? Paul. Yeah, because he's not insane.
Paul sucks.
So anyway, Gabriel just declares to her, I'm taking you home. You live with me now. He's decided where she's living. He's decided he's going to feed her now. You know, this is what ladies like. So they get to his place and he's like, I need you to go to the store.
I'm going to make dinner. But I need to step out and pick up a few things. Would you be all right?
No, I'd be completely lost. I don't know how to sit in a room by myself. So she sleeps in this chair and we like fade cut till later, and he's like, well, dinner's ready. It's like, bitch slept through him coming home from the store, loading groceries, cooking, all of that? She slept through all of that? Or did she not want to cook and was pretending? Oh, maybe she's a lazy bitch. These are what are called very important plot points.
My dear Julianne, if you wish to know how I feel about you, just ask me. Your virtue is safe with me.
I won't let your darkness consume me.
But I have no wish to consume you. Julianne, I won't lie to you and say that I'm not attracted to your luminosity.
I won't let you fuck me.
I would never fuck you. One doesn't fuck an angel.
So then he creepily feeds her, and then because they have some back and forth, she's like, gets mad at him or whatever, so he takes her food away. So we've got the like feeding thing, and now we've got like food denial. He's taking her food away after like 3 bites. It's like, controlling. Let's add that to the check column. Good things, yeah. I think I understand the female gaze. Like, I mean, clearly. You know, you like it when Superman, big jaw dude, shoves chocolate in your face? Yeah, that makes sense. I got it. Who wouldn't like that?
I know you're partial to chocolate. You need to let me feed you.
I'm not a child.
Then stop acting like one. The act of feeding someone is the ultimate act of care and affection. Don't you want me to feed you? You don't want to feast on my body, but at least feast on my cake. Last chance.
I
May I? I will be the perfect gentleman. The act of feeding someone is the ultimate act of care and affection. Don't you want me to feed you? You don't want to feast on my body, but at least feast on my cake.
He puts her to bed in the guest room, but she just can't fall asleep, and she just wishes to be with him, and she like crawls into his bed in the middle of the night like a toddler that's like afraid of the dark.
Good morning, Julianne. I stepped out for a brief moment. Make yourself at home.
I never know if you're gonna be sweet and whisper something that takes my breath away, or say something so mean it breaks my heart.
I find you difficult to talk to sometimes. I'm a good lover. Are you hungry? What happened the morning after our night in the orchard?
I woke up for sunrise. Alone.
Gabriel!
You left me there. I was terrified.
I didn't leave you.
That's why you always leave a note.
I woke up early. You were sleeping in my arms. And I didn't want to wake you up. But I needed to relieve myself.
To poop, and then I was gonna get breakfast. Is he washing his hands out in the orchard? I don't know. He's like, I went to get breakfast, and he just comes back with a bunch of apples. I was like, they were sleeping in an apple orchard. So he went and got apples somewhere else. These apples weren't appropriate. He had to go get apples somewhere else, bring them back, and then she's gone. And then he drops, oh my God. It thinks it's thematically, metaphorically, something cultural and sophisticated about Adam and Eve and the apple. It's not. It's not symbolism. It's just symbols. You don't need Robert Langdon to figure this shit out for you. So now we enter the period of the book where the book is answering to all the complaints people had about earlier parts of the book. Because remember, this is like serialized. She's posting like chapter at a time. And I'm sure there was some comments are like, why is he doesn't remember her in here? That didn't make sense. And so now we get the explanation several chapters later.
And I was strung out on coke. Richard knew I was on something when he picked me up the night before.
The fight with Scott. I spent the most romantic night of my life with a guy strung out on coke. What a stupid girl.
You're not stupid. I was planning on killing myself that night, and you changed that. I thought you were an angel.
So that would explain why he doesn't reach out to her. He doesn't write to her because he doesn't think she's a real person and didn't put together that it was Rachel's friend. So, okay, he didn't remember her because he thought she wasn't a person. She was an angel that saved his life. Okay. So you have this near-death experience, kind of, where an angel saves your life, and you spend like hours and hours with an angel. 6 years later, the angel walks into your classroom, and you don't recognize her. You then like talk to her, you go out to dinner with her, you still don't recognize her. So he explains that it wasn't love at first sight, it was love at first touch.
Your skin remembers me.
It's like our bodies knew each other. It's like, ugh. So if you thought love at first sight worked, sorry, you're gonna have to go around touching a lot of strangers. You can't do it just by looking at strangers. Good advice, good dating tip to be found here. Good strategy.
I won't get involved with a drug addict.
I've been clean for 6 years.
I won't get involved with an alcoholic either.
But I'm not addicted to alcohol.
I'm not that same naive 17-year-old girl.
No, you're a beautiful woman, Beatrice.
Stop saying that!
Alright, so now they're dating, and they're going exclusive, except they're not dating, and they're not having sex.
I want to court you.
You may not sleep with anyone else, even while I'm still deciding. What about Paulina?
Don't worry about her.
Is she your wife? Ex-wife?
No.
What about M-A-I-A, the tattoo on your chest?
Please, stop.
But what about Paulina? What about Maya, that tattoo he has? Who's that? We don't know. These are mysteries. Keep reading for 57 more books to find out. What about Simon, her ex? We think, I don't know, maybe he'll show up. That's the plot. The whole plot is going, what about that character you mentioned 40 minutes ago? Will they show up? I don't know. Stay tuned to find out.
Tell me what made you feel so insecure about yourself. Was it Simon?
So I thought movie 2 was going to be him obsessed with her. Now she doesn't want it, and eventually he's going to like win her back. And I don't know what you're doing in movie 3 to 12. But instead it's like, all right, we've already resolved this. Act 1 resolved this. Now they're together and just like killing time, getting to know each other before they have sex. We're trying not to have sex is basically the plot now.
I wish I was the knight rather than the dragon.
What's up, dude? So he goes to his lawyer to be like, hey, this thing with like underage girls and my students, how cool and legal is this?
Please tell me you're not screwing a freshman.
Don't be Val, John. She's a grad student.
Oh, good.
She gets a new thesis advisor, even though in the first movie he said, I'm the only person that can be your thesis advisor with your topic. So he was either lying in the first movie to like get her to leave the school because she was like clumsy.
I fell in love with Dante when I was 17. Ever since then, he's haunted my dreams.
Continue.
Continue. What a line. Hey, so I'm the screenwriter of the film. Tosca, do you think I could change this line? Well, what does it say in the book? She just says continue. It seems like the author was bored and was just like, yeah, it's a placeholder line and I'll just move on. No, we have to do exactly what's in the book. Yeah, but it seems like the author was like maybe writing one-handed at this point, if you know what I'm saying.
And I don't want your version of it.
Maybe I could punch this line up just a little bit, Tosca. No. Copy paste.
Ever since then, he's haunted my dreams.
Continue.
What are you doing here?
Dinner.
So they keep talking about like how we're gonna be courting. I'm courting you. Anytime they like kiss a little bit, it's like, no, we can't do too much. So they're just doing this like edging, very advanced edging, like months of edging.
What about the non-fraternization policy?
As long as we're chaste and discreet, I don't think we'll have a problem.
We're just courting. We're not gonna have sex for who knows how long. And it's weird they're not like saving for marriage. I don't think they talk about marriage. They're just saving it until they know each other. Just a weird like puritanical, I'm a 23-year-old virgin and people who have sex for any other reason other than love are like fucking sinners.
Slut. She was either his mistress or his fuck buddy.
But she's not waiting for marriage. This is risque vanilla, right? This is like French vanilla.
Where were we?
Is this just an affair to you?
It's like, bitch, oh my god. Oh my god. Like, you couldn't be harder to date than this. You couldn't possibly be more high maintenance bullshit. If he just wanted an affair, this dude can walk down the street and have an affair with like 5 girls. This dude could have all kinds of affairs. He wants you for this like courtly love bullshit, and even that, you're like, oh, is this just an affair? So this bitch, basically, if you show a little bit of passion while you're kissing her, she's like, oh, that's a sin. Vanilla is too flavorful for this bitch. She won't be happy until the ice cream is unflavored.
Slut.
He sleeps over. Oh, scandalous, because, you know, they're courting. You know, you're not supposed to sleep over. But then, he shows her his dong. But we don't get to see it. But it's not in a romantic scene. He's just like, hey, just wanted to let you see it. And she makes this face. What is this face? I don't know. Does this mean he's got a big dong? What does the 23-year-old virgin think about like a giant dong? Like, is she into that? Is she scared of it? Or is she happy because it's like, oh, it's not so big? Maybe he was doing penis puppetry. I don't know. We don't get to see his penis. Then we have like a dating montage, which is basically this like shots of them sitting in the same room reading. It's about it. Like, that's the perfect couple. They read together.
And I have a friend who feeds me.
The plot has completely died. We don't even have jealousy. We don't have the will they won't they. They're just together and like waiting to bang. Like, that's the plot. Paul hasn't shown up for an hour. Then they'll like make out. Oh, we can't go too far. And then he'll be like, I have a dark secret.
I lost my soul.
So he'll talk like, oh, I have all these demons. I'm just a sinner. And she's like, oh, maybe I can redeem you. And it's like, what are these fucking sins? Like, what did he do? Is he a vampire? Hello? It would make sense if he's a goddamn vampire or something and like he's had the kill but now he feels bad about it. But no, he's a professor. Like, I guess his sins are like hitting on students. I don't know that she really wants to redeem him for that one. Alright, so the plot finally sort of gets going. Gabriel's gonna give a public lecture and Paul asks Julia to go with him. And Gabriel is not happy. He thinks basically she shouldn't have any male friends. And she's like, I'm a grad student. I'm new to Toronto. I'm new to Toronto and I don't have any friends. You want to cut me off from my only friend? And he's like, I mean, yeah. And so he says something like, how would you like it if I had female friends? And she's like, I mean, that'd be fine if he had female friends. No, just kidding. She says she does not want him to have any female friends. Like, what the fuck? This is very healthy relationship. Nobody is allowed to have opposite sex friends. Good Lord. Having opposite sex friends is basically adultery. I don't know if you knew that.
Do you want me to see other women as friends?
No. Who's that next to Professor Martin?
Professor Singer. She's the worst. She's known as Professor Payne.
Payne?
She's an S&M.
Are we sure Paul's middle name isn't Exposition? And also, this is the second time he's been like, hey, I have to tell you now, this professor, you see them, well, here's their reputation. I am terrified of them. Fucking dude is scared of every professor. If that's the reason she doesn't like him, because he's like a pussy, I guess that makes sense.
Lust in Dante's Inferno for personal sexual gratification.
They dated.
Singer doesn't date. She's into pain and control.
That means he's into...
S&M. Yeah.
Did you like watching what I was doing to Emerson under the table?
I
think I've made you blush. In fact, I think I've made you blush all over your body. You'd make a very pretty pet.
I'm not interested in being anyone's pet.
Feisty. Ooh. I like a feisty pet. Sex.
All right, maybe we're getting kinky here, movie. But no, Julia immediately kink shames everyone. Bondage is bad. And she says,
I don't understand why anyone would not choose kindness. Life is painful enough.
So the virgin is kink shaming people who are into like light spanking, a little bit of choking, a little bit of hair pulling. All of those things are off limits for her, which is fine. You can have your limits, but you're kink shaming like the world for being into anything other than like vanilla missionary sex. Is cowgirl too bad because he might spank you? I don't know. Is it degrading to be like an animal? Because there is shit in here about like the difference between humans and animals. Some loaded Christian bullshit about that. I think it's Professor Payne says something. Humans are just animals. She's like, no. I have a soul, so I'm not an animal. I'm better than the animals. So this is fun. This is a fun watch. A fun, erotic, Passionflix, not pornography. If you're into spanking, you're a sinner. So if this were any other movie, I would say, like, this is an arc. She's starting out completely against any kind of bondage. It's, like, evil. It's not kind. You should be soft and gentle with your lover. And then as she goes into sex and she has a sexual awakening, like a flower, because the book always talks about her being a flower. Gross. So by book 3, by movie 47, she's really into bondage, and that's like an arc that she changes. But I'm guessing that that's not what happens, and that she stays into vanilla shit the whole time. That's my guess. Write in the comments if you know better than me. Book 4, she into bondage yet? How many goddamn intense making out scenes can you write without getting bored?
Not feeling well, sorry. I'm going home.
So after the big night out, Gabriel takes her shoe off and she like has an orgasm practically from like him touching her foot. Just like, oh, okay, so spanking is for devil worshippers, but foot stuff's cool. All right, that's neat. She then, pre-potential future hypothetical breakup, kink shames him into like, never ever do BDSM in the future, even if we break up. He's like, yeah, sure. Future kink, this is like the Minority Report of kink shaming.
Promise me you'll never go back to her.
It is not in my nature to be violent with women, but rather to be seductive. Anne was an exception.
Why that exception?
I was in a dark place.
Canada. So they're like making out, things are getting hot, so then she drops some dark secrets. This is what you do when the mood is good and you got the candles going and things are getting hot and heavy. You go, stop, I have to tell you about my dark secrets, and kill the mood completely. This is how romance works.
I'm not that innocent. I'm a virgin, but you can't have this idea that I've never done things before.
Simon?
And we did things.
I don't want to know. What kind of things?
I've done stuff. She's done stuff. Bitch, you're 23. But she's making it into a big thing. Like, oh, I've done stuff. And it's like, what, mouth stuff, hand stuff? Do you think a 33-year-old man is going to be like, oh, it's a deal breaker that you've done mouth stuff before? Like, unless stuff means the Missouri Compromise, the old poop hole loophole, the old greasing up Jesus' blind spot. You know what I'm talking about? Christian girls, anal sex, still a virgin. That would be a twist. That would be an interesting twist. Maybe her and Simon were doing butt stuff, and she feels very shamed about it. It's still not a dark past. So we get into like the, I don't know, last 20 minutes of the movie. What's the climax of this plot going to be? Are we going to resolve something with Professor Payne, Paul, and jealousy? Are they going to finally bang? So the final act is they go on a date for her birthday.
Please do me the honor of gracing me with your presence at the Royal Ontario Museum.
Again, not pornography, says Tosca Musk. This is pornography. Big Italian Superman with a big jaw shoves chocolate in your face and gives you compliments and takes you on dates and buys you jewelry and buys you shit. This is pornography. It's not dong pornography. Handsome manography.
How did you arrange all this?
I donated a large sum to the Florentine exhibit last spring, so I called in a favor.
Floratini, please.
Your work of art.
Stunning. Stunning. Are you an ass man?
Just like, bitch, you're in trouble if he's an ass man. You've got about as much ass as I do.
You're hardly cold as an ass.
So they go on a date at the museum. Back to his place, chocolate cake, hot date. It's like midnight on your birthday, middle of a hot date. It's erotic, it's romantic. Your phone rings, it's an unknown number. So of course you answer it. I mean, obvious. You can't not answer the phone. This is how you know this was written by a boomer, you know? Oh, the phone rings, gotta answer it. My people, we would not answer the phone. Get fucked. Unknown number, get fucked.
We have this stuff.
Chocolate cake. I'll get the candles, don't move.
Hello?
Hello, Jules.
How did you get this number, Simon?
What? So what's gonna happen in part 3? Will Simon show up and talk about how they used to do mouth stuff and ruin everything? I don't know. And how did he get her number? What a mystery. I'm gonna tune in for 4 more movies to find out. Will Simon reveal to everyone that they did butt stuff? Will Gabriel Brown beat up her ex-boyfriend? Will Gabriel leave her 4 notes? Or 5 notes? Will he buy her fancy things? I don't know. I must tune in next week for Gabriel's Inferno Part 3. So let's talk about kink shaming while I drink white cooking wine. So fucking salty. Quote, executives told her that the movies she wanted to make were not intellectual. She says that they were porn for women. The same executives would go out and make movies like Fast and Furious 8. So Fast and Furious 8 is porn for men. I thought porn for men was porn. Quote, the movie industry was too focused on what men wanted, she thought. Where you going, buddy? The camera lingering on a woman's buttocks, peering into cleavage, even when the scene had nothing to do with sex. Musk wanted to show the world through a woman's gaze. Bi erasure much? You're saying no women want to look at cleavage when they watch a movie? Does this, like, rub anyone else the wrong way? Just this, like, men want Fast and the Furious 8, and women want to watch exactly what I want, which is holding hands, getting chocolate shoved in your face, and an aggressively controlling, sexy, tall, big-jawed man. That's what women want. So conveniently for Tosca, what women want is exactly what she wants, and what men want is bullshit like Fast and the Furious 8. So what is that? I mean, I don't want Fast and the Furious 8. My bisexual wife might want to look at boobies. Jess, who appears on the show many a time, enjoys looking at boobies in a movie. So I don't want to speak for women, but Tosca Musk has absolutely no problem speaking for all women. Okay. So clearly I'm not the target audience, so I shouldn't complain too much. Like, this isn't for me. Fine. But I know that there are many women who would hate this bullshit and think it's cringy, eye-rolling, groan-worthy material. Maybe I should show them some of this film and see what they have to say, and insert that clip here.
The rest of my life I'll dream of hearing your voice breathing my name. Let me feed you.
What? Oh, is he a vampire?
I can feed myself.
Of course you can, but why should you? And I'm here to do it for you.
Oh, no.
And then she,
That's ridiculous.
You blush like a teenager. And I can fucking sense your innocence.
Is she blushing?
Does she like that?
It's obvious that you're still a virgin, so that's with me. I will let you starve.
Have you had dinner?
God, what is with these weird Christian sexy
No.
overtones?
Are you cold? I see the wheels turning.
Do you take us a
Mind
shrivel?
yours. You naughty little kitty. Sweet like candy.
How the hell would I know what you want? Well, you won't fucking talk to me!
Shouting at me won't persuade me to talk to you!
Oh, this was written by a woman?
I won't let your darkness consume me.
Julianne, I won't lie to you and say that I'm not attracted to your luminosity.
I won't let you fuck me.
One doesn't fuck an angel. I know you're partial to chocolate. You need to let me feed you.
I am.
Don't you want me to feed you? You don't want to feast on my body, but at least feast on my cake. I will be the perfect gentleman. I'm a good lover. Are you hungry?
It just hurts. Like it's like
I'm
ready to tap out.
to recognize the man who worships you.
So does my bisexual wife not count as the female gaze because she doesn't want to see your hand-holding, cringy, terrible compliment bullshit? Hashtag biwife energy. Oh my goodness. Here you go. And what about gay people? Like, there's no mention of gay. It's like very heteronormative that we're talking about straight women and straight men that are into Fast and Furious 8. And there is an issue in romance novels. There's a lot of gay male romance novels that are written by and for straight women. So we're talking like cultural appropriation there, right? There's some pushback from the gay community about this. What is it that straight women like about gay dude romance? Is it that they get to read a book where there's two dongs they don't get to look at? You know, I'm not trying to cancel anyone. Like, you want to masturbate to whatever you want to masturbate to within reason, go for it. You do you. I don't care. But don't then be like, this is what all women want. Quote, Musk says that people wrongly associate passion with what she calls the other P word, pornography. There is no passion in porn, she said. She finds it tiresome that critics sometimes dismiss the films as not real art. I feel like it's very disrespectful towards the romance genre. All right, so the critics who see her films and go, yeah, this is basically porn, like we don't really need to review this as a film because it's like compliment and chocolate and fancy thing porn and not like a real movie, which it is. Critics are bad for dismissing what she makes as being porn. That's bad. But then she will, in the next breath, be like, and porn is terrible, and it has no passion. No porn ever made has any real passion to it. Again, this is like the kink shaming stuff. Like, whatever kink you're into, like, she has a orgasm, basically, because he touches her foot. That's cool, but spanking is evil, you know? Whatever I'm into is great. Anything less vanilla than what I'm into is for sinners. In her own movies, Musk does not include any frontal nudity below the waist, and rarely even above, and she objects to any description of the site as soft porn or a guilty pleasure. Tosca is dedicated to bringing happiness to humankind, specifically to women, who make up 98% of Passionflix's audience. Who's the 2%? I guess that's me. I'm the 2% of Passionflix's audience. Are you chewing on the pillow, buddy? Don't chew on the pillow. Puppy dude, no chew pillow. Oh, okay. Come here. There you go. Okay. Quote, I'd rather portray a connection, the love and passion and lust between two people, than show gratuitous nudity. We don't have to spend all of our time looking at breasts.
Because I have breasts? Exquisite breasts?
All right, so imagine if they made the 6-hour-long Gabriel's Inferno Part 1, 2, and 3, and in that 6 hours we inserted 45 seconds of sex where you maybe see some, you know, maybe a little bit of dong, a little bit. Would that make the whole 6 hours porn and not art anymore? Is that what you're saying? And porn is bad, obviously. So like what she's doing is bringing happiness to womankind, but if there was a dong in it for 10 seconds, then it would just be bad porn. Like... And if you like to look at dongs at all, even if it's only in the context of like at the end of a 6-hour romantic erotic thriller, then you're not in tune with the female gaze. Sorry. I don't know, maybe I'm reading too much into this. But like, if you watch the movie and go, well, that's kink shaming and this is slut shaming and whatever.
Pelvic affiliates. We're anonymous and tawdry. Slut, mistress, or his fuck buddy?
One doesn't fuck an angel.
Lust in Dante's Inferno. The deadly sin against the self.
I'm not that innocent.
Sex. Continue.
You can't really ascribe any of that to her because even though she's the director and like oversaw the script being adapted, she could always just say like, I'm just being faithful to the book. though she also chose to make this book movie thing. It's not really adapted. It's not really a movie. It's more of it's a boovie. She made a boovie. I don't know if I mentioned it, but aside from the kink shaming and the BDSM shaming and the slut shaming, there's also this thing about I won't share you, you know? And it's like, all right, any kind of ethical non-monogamy, that's not cool, right? We're gonna slut shame even people into ethical non-monogamy stuff. That's for sinners. The book shames Gabriel for liking Nine Inch Nails. Yes. Quote, Gabriel, sweetheart, don't listen to that kind of music anymore, okay? It was the lyrics about fucking like an animal, and the look on his face as he brought his forehead to hers and whispered to her, staring straight into her soul. She'd believed she heard the voice of the devil. Julia had wrenched herself from him and fled to the ladies' washroom, looking at the pale and shaking girl in the mirror, wondering what the hell had just happened. The repeated lyric was a confession of his deepest and perhaps darkest intentions, and not just a mindless repetition. So he listens to Closer by Nine Inch Nails, and she's like, oh my god, the devil! Just like satanic panic about like playing records backwards. So you're only allowed to listen to Christian music, and even that, if the guitar pedal gets a little fuzzy, that could be Satan. That's Satan sneaking in.
Continue.
Then there's like puritanical shit about drugs and alcohol, which makes me think like Mormon. I found a Reddit post where a person who self-describes their own post as a rant goes on this rant about how puritanical it's being and kink shaming and all that. And then this religious Redditor shows up. So I'm quoting from a Reddit comment.
Oh, good.
I know the non-religious people probably think of it as a joke, but try to extend some sort of understanding of other people's perspectives, or even that certain books may not be for you. For example, having sex before marriage, or even just drinking alcohol. That is all some of the worst sins you can commit in my religion.
Like the flower in the tree.
And then when they have sex, they're not married. So like, is this book for you? If, you know, alcohol's bad and kinks are bad, and if you're doing a Mormon cringe fest, porn addiction, that's coming soon. But the one-handed book that's art and not porn, you read it one-handed, you know what I'm saying, ladies? That's all setting up the perfect cherry popping at the end of 500 pages. That's not porn. That's perfectly acceptable. So I suppose you could say this has a kink, which is the teacher-student thing. So you know how in like sci-fi, when you go, all right, well, there's this weird element, and we're just gonna accept that and suspend disbelief for this weird element. But everything else needs to kind of make sense. Characters have to make sense. The world has to be logical. We'll give you one weird thing. For this story, you could say the one weird thing, we're going to suspend disbelief for this, everything else needs to fit, is the teacher-student thing. Not quite pedophilia, Title IX investigation, not workplace/school sexual harassment. Those are just fun kinks. Everything else needs to make sense, but ooh, that's just a little sexual harassment whoopsie daisy. So if you got a hot for teacher thing, I'm not gonna kink shame you. Not because I'm a teacher, because I don't have that. I think it's weird, but all right. It seems like the book is unaware that it's a kink. Like it's kink shaming all these things that are like even more vanilla than just like a teacher-student thing, which is like, I mean, that's one of the few like role play in the bedroom things. Just like if you're gonna do any kind of role play, this is in the first 2 or 3 things that come to mind. Maybe kink shaming is a kink. Write in the comments, does that count? Maybe my kink is being really judgmental of other people.
My view of our genre is that it's incredibly empowering to women, that it removes shame from sexuality, that it encourages communication and connection in human beings.
So anyway, I thought I would share my perspective as a professor on the teacher-student thing. Let's do that.
Oh, good.
That won't be weird for everyone. All right, so the cliche like, oh, professor, I'll do anything to get an A, like, that has never even come close to any student trying to do that. You all right there, buddy? What will happen is you'll get whiny bullshit emails constantly, or like, hey, can you make up an extra credit assignment so I can do that? And it's like, there are assignments you haven't done that I spent time writing. Go do those. I'm not making a new extra credit bullshit assignment for you. And B, any student who's in my class who's getting bad grades, it's because they can't follow simple directions, or they're just not trying. If you can't follow basic instructions, I'm not letting you anywhere near my basic erections. Yes, I have basic erections. I drink a lot of pumpkin spice lattes. If I have to answer 6 emails from you where the answer was always in the syllabus, I'm not letting you near my junk. That's not happening. The whole like mean professor, like see me after class, like in front of the whole class, you cannot do that shit. You'll make students cry, all right? It's not that hard to make college students cry. I've done it. It's shockingly easy to make them cry. Get this video to 1 million views and I'll tell a very boring, not exciting story about how I've made a student cry before. Like, it's not interesting. And I'm not a mean teacher, so jeez. You're so clumsy, boy. You're such a clumsy boy. Got your butt up. All right, grad students being poor in her like shitty apartment.
This is a terrible place to live.
True, grad students are poor. I was a fucking poor grad student. I lived in a 3-bedroom house with 3 roommates. But Jeff, how do you fit 4 people in a 3-bedroom house? Well, you know those like accordion plastic wall things that you might put in front of like your washer dryer or something? Our house had one of those, and so we like walled off the dining room. That was my room. And in the winter, the thermostat was set to about 60 degrees, and there were mice. So that was a fun place to live. And you might think, well, it was like 4 grad students, and so you got like a screenwriter, we had a playwright, there's a dude getting a PhD in economics, there was a like anthropology major, there's a theater tech dude. Like we had, I was there a couple years, so people went in and out, whatever. So you might think we had like lots of cool conversations, very cultured. Mostly we were getting drunk at a dive bar down the street. Oh, this is the house I almost burned down with absinthe. Very classy. One of my favorite memories from grad school. So that we had a dive bar that we liked to go to. And so you might walk in there on a Thursday night and find like 10 grad students. A lot of us are like GTs, like either teaching or like assisting a professor. So if you were a 20-year-old and you snuck in there with your fake ID, which you wouldn't even need because they didn't card. Gromling, who you might know from our videos, she used to go there underage. Then we had her 21st birthday there, I think, and I was like, yay, you've been coming here for 2 years. So if you were a 20-year-old student and you'd have walked in, you might have been like, oh my God, there's like 9 English professors in the corner, because students don't know the difference. They don't know the hierarchy of like grad assistant, adjuncts, and NTTs. They just think we're all doctors. So at one point we go out back to smoke. I don't smoke. My friends smoke. We go out back and we see there's like feet sticking out from behind the dumpster. I'm like, oh shit, is there a dead body? And we go look back there and there's a dude passed out drunk, who's one of our colleagues, who's a GT. In the morning he had to go teach fucking like Chaucer and shit like that to like freshmen. He's fucking passed out behind the dumpster.
She's known as Professor Payne.
There was a romance in our department. There was a grad student who was cavorting with a professor. This was a male student, female professor, and this was scandalous. Just kidding, nobody cared because they're fucking adults. Like, what does it matter? Why would you give a shit if she grades him nicely? Like, we're competing to get good grades? What do you care what other students' grades are? This isn't like we're trying to get into like the best med school and our grades matter. Like, who cares? The only thing that would matter would be like if she's funneling money to him that's like from a limited pool of scholarship money that maybe should go to someone else. So she's just like not involved in those kinds of decisions, and like so what does it matter? Who cares? Which, by the way, Gabriel like immediately did. No drama whatsoever. It was fine. So like grad school felt like the first time where like teachers kind of feel like peers. While you're taking your grad class, your 5,000 level class or whatever, you might be teaching like English 225. So like technically we're colleagues, like we're both teachers in the same department. Like we have the same department secretary doing things with our mailboxes, and we go to like the Christmas party together. Like, so we're interacting like as colleagues. The best part of grad school is you get drunk with your professors a lot.
Oh, good.
Creative writing, English department is maybe different. I can't speak for all departments. I'm sure the master's in engineering is probably a little bit different. One of my favorite memories from grad school. So the professor, he's like a novelist, like a well-respected novelist, but he, was having class at this like restaurant bar. Like he was like taking students aside one at a time to like talk about their project. The like waitress comes over to bring his food and she's like, where'd fish taco guy go? It's like, oh, he's talking to a student about their paper or whatever. But forever after that, I just think of him as fish taco guy. But yeah, I had multiple like night classes where it was like just standard operating procedures. Like we'd sit there and talk for 3 hours about film or whatever. And then after the class was over, professor would be like, all right, I'm going to this bar if you want to join. And like 70% of the class would go and we'd start applying the critical theory we had just learned to like the latest LCD sound system song. I was in the English department, so we had like, creative writing people. So we might have like readings, 4 or 5 students are going to read from their thesis they're working on or whatever. And there's free wine and we're trying trying to get money, you know. We'd have big like fundraisery things. All right, we need a bunch of grad students to show up. Look poor. There'll be free crab cakes. Just look poor and we'll get some big checks. So I could see a grad student and a professor relationship coming about in a way that's not creepy, unlike, you know, like a high school teacher or like even like college freshman and a teacher.
Please tell me you're not screwing the freshman.
Don't be Val, John. She's a grad student.
Oh, good.
Because they're like peers and there's always, you know, excuses. There's always times where we're like getting drunk together. So it makes sense. But this film, this story, all of their interactions are like, see me after class. And they're like having meetings in his office. Very much into the power dynamic.
You have all the power, you could destroy me.
I've seen a lot of comments about how like maybe this author who has a secret identity, maybe they're actually a professor and that's, you know, they're a real sexy Italian professor.
That must be quite the turn on.
I don't see anything in here that's not just the pop culture understanding of what college and professors are like. If you want to know more about the secret identity of the author of these books, or if you want to know a shocking revelation about Tosca Musk's personal life, tune in next week when I will reveal the answers to my clickbait questions. And Gabriel's Inferno Part 3, what will happen? Simon, what's he gonna do? Oh, we'll see.
Bitch!
And there will be haiku. Don't blame me if they blow chunks. I didn't write them shits. And you've been reading the book for 500 pages one-handed. You've been watching the film for 6 hours one-handed to get to the one sex scene at the end of the trilogy. What will happen? Will he pop her cherry? Did she do the Missouri Compromise? Will there be fireworks? Will she spontaneously combust? The answer will make your jaw drop.
Are you telling us that Dante is a pedophile?
Of course not. He had true affection for her.
I won't let your darkness consume me.
Julianne, I won't lie to you and say that I'm not attracted to your luminosity. I find you difficult to talk to sometimes.
Sex.
Well, the normality of one's stools is determined by comparing them to the Bristol stool form scale. You just look at the picture, point to what approximates the content of your toilet bowl, and your doctor tells you whether your type is good or bad.
I have 07.
I will go on. The people have come to see Starina.
All right, put on the mambo number. Tell Beatrice and Dante to get the staircase ready. Now go.
By the way, we have a new puppy. You see this man over here? Dewey is his name. We've had him 6 days at this point, so that's Mr. Dewey. Got the white wine. We got, look at this, wine porn time. Oh yeah, baby. Oh, okay, notes of, what do we got here? Holland House, blend of white wine and distilled spirits. So we got white wine and vodka, basically. Not for sale or use as a beverage. So I'm violating the warranty. Oh, that's probably a 72, I'm gonna say. Bit of an oaky afterbirth.